When you can come in the Buffalo Wild Wings and catch the best moments in sports. Unlike in Roman times, when you could become the sport.
Is this section G?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Ow.
Get the ultimate sports experience at Buffalo Wild Wings.
High school sports fans, follow your team live. The free stream app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Teams is the official pair for the entire state of every team need and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Prepare a ballot. Our team, we're coming in on.
For more information on your school join the Student Office program, visit fhsaa.com/sp.
FloridasFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200.
High school sports fans, follow your team live. live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream. High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Hey, we're gonna do the Asian thing, honey barbecue and hot.
It's a great time to be a fan when you've got 21 sauces and seasonings to put on your wings. Don't take it for granted because in medieval days, your wing flavors were limited.
Hot flavor, plain flavor.
Hot, please.
Get 21 sauces and seasonings at Buffalo Wild Wings.
And good afternoon. Welcome to FloorHSFootball.com's Drive to December Gridiron Report here on Varsity Sports Network and FHSNetwork.com and on FloorHSFootball.com. Doing it from the office today, but got Bobby Latmore on the phone with us through the Skype line. So, man, Bobby, I appreciate you getting a thing on joining, even though you couldn't make it down here to Gainesville this week. But, man, people are starting to – it's really getting on edge now for everybody with the playoffs. I mean, this week and next week, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, all the Twitter stuff that we've been getting, everything that's been going on, I mean, it is amazing, and it is really starting to heat up coming down here to the final 2 weeks here of high school football season here in Florida. And I'm telling you what, Josh, like you said, things are really starting to crank up. I'm up here in Tallahassee. We've got a lot of football going up here tonight. Godby taking on Florida High here at Cox Stadium. Also from our area, Lincoln over at Rainsville. Our Varsity Sports Network will be covering both of those games. Plus, we got a little high school action, state playoff volleyball going too, Josh, that we'll be covering as well. So that's why I'm here in Tallahassee today. Sorry I couldn't make it down to Gainesville.
Hey, it's
but,
all
you
right.
know, Georgia Bulldogs shouldn't be down there in Gator Country this week anyways.
No, I don't I don't know. Well, they could be over at Jacksonville, though. We'll say that.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, I mean, looking at Class 8A, let's go ahead and dive into Class 8A Region 1. This is updated after Week 9 here, so everything through Monday night, basically, with the playoffs here. What we're looking at in the projected playoff bracket, Class 8A Region 1, looking at it, number 1 seed holding on still pretty strong to that number 1 seed after Week 9. Winter Park looking in pretty good shape. They are a district champion, by the way, still undefeated, 9-0. Flagler Palm Coast looks to finish off their season this week, 9-0 as well. And they're a district champion in District 8A1. So Winter Park, Flagler Palm Coast, the first two teams in 8A Region 1 to clinch district championships. So they're both of those teams are headed to the playoffs. They'll just know they won't find out their final seeding until Sunday, November 5th. But Winter Park, Flagler Palm Coast looking in pretty good position right now for those first top 2 seeds. Wekiva 3 right now, Lake Mary 4, Apopka 5, Boone 6, Spruce Creek 7, and Sanford Seminole number 8. I tell you what, Bobby, there's some. I know you know some of the history with Sanford Seminole. I mean they have. They're all of a sudden one loss in the last week, to Orange City University, and it dropped them out of top 4 to number 8, almost knocked out. I mean, that's
them. They got to be very careful of coming down the last couple of weeks.
I mean, the last couple of weeks, and then the big game in that region this week is going to be Apopka and Wekiva. That's for the District 8A4 championship. And if Wekiva is looking for their chance to finally knock off their crosstown rival Apopka, tomorrow night is it. Tomorrow night.
No question.
I mean,
still a lot of football, like you said, Josh, to be played. A couple big games in this region right here. Especially, you mentioned it, the District 4 game between Wekiva and Apopka. That's the one everybody's watching for right now across the state. So that's one of the highlight games that they've got going on here in the FHSAA this week.
Oh, yeah, for sure, that is a big one right there. And but looking at that right now, if the playoffs were to start today, Winter Park would play Sanford Seminole, Lake Mary hosting Apopka, Wekiva hosting Boone, and Spruce Creek at Flagler Palm Coast. So that would be the matchups as if the playoffs were to start right now. So there you go. I mean, that right there, Region 1. But let's get into Region 2 here. Looking at Region 2, Vero Beach still holding on to that number 1 spot, about 2 points ahead right now for 44.5, 42.5 is the difference between. So that's about 2 points between number 1 Vero Beach and number 2 Kissimmee Osceola right this second. Looking at these at the seeds in Region 2 in Class 8A. Right now, looking at number 3 Sarasota Riverview, number 4 Dr. Phillips. So right now, Kissimmee Osceola, Sarasota Riverview, and Dr. Phillips, all those have clinched their district championships. Vero can wrap it up tomorrow night with a win against Treasure Coast. Otherwise, there's a potential chance of looking at a 3-way tie scenario in that district if Centennial, or actually it looks like if Fort Pierce Central actually wins tomorrow night as well. So, again, a lot going on.
Yep. Last Friday night, though, Josh, you remembered Lincoln took a nice little trip down to Vero Beach from Tallahassee. Thought they would be competitive down there.
Wrong answer. Wrong
quite.
Answer. Yeah.
And the way Vero played, I think they'll clinch this next week.
Oh, yeah. They'll clinch it. I think they have a good chance of clinching the number 1 spot. Now, what the thing is that Vero Beach Lincoln game does not count in the points, so that game is kind of like basically like a scrub game in this particular sense. It counts on the record, but it doesn't count on the record for points, and so to speak on this.
But still, the competition level that was played was not good for the up here in the northern town here. They didn't like that happening down there to the southern school down there. So it was kind of a difficult week here at Lincoln. So hopefully they'll get back on track when they head over to play Range later on the night.
Oh, no, that you're definitely right about that. That will definitely be the case on that game because hopefully Range is pretty good. So for Lincoln, they're going to have to watch out. But looking at the other 4 seeds right now, holding 5 Ridge Community, 6 Newsome, 7 Manatee. Manatee, which has been on the outside looking in, now is looking like they're going to have a chance of making the playoffs here. And former Lincoln head coach Yusef Shakir is down at Manatee now.
How about that for first year, buddy? He kind of snuck in there towards the end. He better win the next one and stay up. I tell you that.
He's got Friday night, then he's got to make up on Monday, so he's got 2 games to deal with here. So that's huge for Manatee right there. And number 8 is Kissimmee Gateway. So through District 8A6 and 8A7 are looking at possibly taking 3 teams each. So that would be big for those districts. But District 5, and I will explain this. Why Gateway has the 8 seed over Olympia is because of the tiebreaker that includes basically Gateway has more Category 1 and 2 wins combined than Olympia does. That's a 2-0 right there. So that would definitely, it's a matter of the quality of games you have played this season.
Yeah, no question, Josh, and everybody talked about it at the beginning of the season. We've been talking about it the last 3 shows that we've had on here. The competition level that you're going to play from here on out better be up there because the more Category 1 and Category 2 wins that you have on your schedule, you're going to start making it into the top 8 in a lot of these regions. So interesting. The first year, everybody's learning how to do it. Next year, I think there's going to be a lot of changes to a lot of these schedules.
Well, we'll have to see because a lot of the schedules are set for 2 years, so we'll see what happens on that. But if people want to make changes, we'll see what happens and see if people want to change up a few things. And that'll be curious to watch and see how the reactions come from Gainesville here at the FHA. The FHA office is not too far from where I'm at, so that will definitely be the thing to watch. Getting into Region 3 here, Bobby. I mean, right now, number 1 seed right now, Palm Beach Central is holding that number 1 seed right this second. But Miramar and a couple other teams are looking to try to close that gap and see what they can get that number 1 seed. And really, the gap between Miramar and Palm Beach Central right now. Palm Beach Central has clinched their district, so they're a district champion. They are in the playoffs. 38.83 is Miramar's number. 39.29 is Palm Beach Central's number. So we're talking.
That's close.
It's very, very close. And the next 2 weeks are going to be determination factors for the entire points. Again, nobody will know their final point average or their bracket status until Sunday, November 5th, when they do the selection show. They're going to keep it under lock and key that weekend. Don't call the FHA offices trying to find out. They're not going to answer you. So they're not going to pick up. They probably won't pick up the telephone. So that's probably.
We'll know, but no one else will. They're not getting it from us until actually this Sunday,
Right.
11-5. So don't call us either.
Yeah, I'll only take certain phone calls from certain people. So, but anyways, looking at it right now, number 5 Plantation, number 6 Western, 7 Seminole Ridge. Seminole Ridge at 1.2 weeks ago was a number 1 seed in that region, and all of a sudden here they are falling to number 7 due to a couple of losses they have taken. Number 8 Park Vista, which has been on the outside looking in. Here they are. They're now projected an 8 seed right this second, which. Again, it makes the things very interesting. Right now, the projected matchups would be Palm Beach Central versus Park Vista, Delray Beach Atlantic versus Plantation, Deerfield Beach versus Western, and Miramar versus Seminole Ridge if the playoffs were to start today. Boy, man, talked about competitive football. There you go, Region 3 right there. So, and looking at Region 4, let's get into Region 4 here because I'll tell you, this is with Region 4. There's been some a couple of shifts in Region 4 as we look at it. Columbus is still holding on to that number 1 spot pretty much. I think they're going to finish and lock up that spot here this coming week because they play their final game of the season this week. So they'll lock up that seed pretty much, I believe, this week here. And looking at – did I lose you, Bobby? I may have lost Bobby, but – and we'll get Bobby back on the air here, hopefully in just a moment here. So, yep, and we'll try to figure out what happened to Bobby here in just a moment here. See if it's something that happened here. All right, we'll get Bobby back here on the line in just a moment. See what happened here. Do we have you, Bobby?
You got me now?
Yeah, there we go. I thought I lost you for a second. We were sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, whoop.
Yep.
There we go.
You gotta love technology.
Gotta love technology, but we were talking about 8A Region 3, and I went into 8A Region 4, but Columbus is holding that number 1 spot right now still in Region 4, and I think they're going to lock it up here this week because they've played a good schedule. They're winning their games, and they're doing everything, and their final district game is this week, and that'll be I think they're going to lock it up here, but right now, Miami Southridge has slipped into the number 2 spot, that's kind of the thing we're considering. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking they were on the outside looking in. So here they are sitting there pretty in their district down in District 16, number 3 right now. Blinn Jesuit, they're the only team in that region that has locked up a district championship. Actually, this one of 2 teams that have locked up a district championship. North Miami is the other one. And they're sitting there at the 4 seed right now on this with the projections. And then looking at 5 through 8, Miami Palmetto 5, South Dade 6. After Miami Palmetto upset South Dade last week, Miami Palmetto has jumped up there. Won't be able to win the district, but a 5 seed is going to be pretty good in their position. 6 South Dade, 7 Miami High, and then 8 Homestead. So right now, District 16 is looking at taking 4 teams in Region 4 in Class 8A. I mean, it's going to be rare to see a district take 4 teams, but it can happen, and it will happen this year.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, there's a lot of finagling going around with the points and stuff like that, but when you have a strong district like that, like we have up here in ours in Tallahassee with District 5, District 1 and 5A, it's all 3 of those teams are going. So you're going to have a lot of parity in one district because those are the best teams, and the best teams have the right to go to the playoffs, and that's exactly what they're going to do when it all comes down here in the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, exactly. The next 2 weeks are critical here, and of course there's some makeup games scheduled in between now until Saturday, November 4th, which I had actually talked to Frank Beasley yesterday about, and there's some makeup games and that are being scheduled because the teams are all of a sudden realizing we need to get our points in. So we'll play all that Saturday if we have to in order to get our points. So that's what they're going to do, and it's going to be really, really exciting to see what comes down to the finish. But getting into Class 7A, Bobby, here, Region 1, right now, Robert E. Lee has taken back the number 1 seed right this second in the region. They're holding that pretty tight against Bartram Trail. That Bartram Trail's just right on the outside. Bartram Trail was number 1 last week. Suffered a loss to Cocoa. Cocoa kind of slipped back here a little bit. But still, that 1 and 2 seed, that's going to probably go back and forth here until they release that final bracket And right now, then 3 Edgewater, 4 Lincoln, and Lincoln has their district championship, which they're the only team in that region right now to have wrapped up their district. So, the Trojans are headed to the playoffs, but they would the other side of the bracket at 5, Columbia. It would not a pretty game right there, probably setting up for the Trojans.
No, not at all. Again, they played them now for the last 2 years in a row and came out, on the short side of both those games. And now looking at it again, they're going to be, facing them again. And right now, the way Lincoln's playing, this could be Lincoln, Josh, could go into as a number 4 seed because they are district champs, but their record will be 3-7.
Well, I mean, that's
imagine that.
I mean, and that's the one thing the FHA was trying to avoid, but we knew there was a potential when I looked at this district and knowing that with the shakeups happened over the offseason, I said this district potentially has a potential where Lincoln could go, you said 3-7, 4-6, be a district champion in the playoffs, but it's again, this is probably where some people are saying, well, this is where the need for a bigger district may be required. Well, we're not going to get that until probably 2019 for when reclassification happens. So we got one more year left of the current classification lines, and then the FHA will start redrawing the lines again based upon the enrollments. And since all these schools have come back into the state series, the lines will definitely change for sure come the 2019 season. So
it could help. It could make a lot of these teams even more vulnerable to playing other schools outside of the areas and things like that. But still, you want to get the best in, and that's a good point, Josh. And then if they add, there's a lot of teams up here in the northern part of the state that have only 3 teams in the districts. Okay. And winning a district championship is exactly what's going to happen in some of these districts like Lincoln has done. All they got to do is win 2 games.
Yeah.
And they're the district champs. Lincoln's won 3. The 2 games that they won out of the 3 happen to be the 2 teams in their district. Guess what? They're going to the playoffs, even though they may be 3-7 going into it.
Yeah, and that's definitely the thing right there. But looking at the rest of the seeds right now, Fleming Island 6. Fleming Island got upset by Creekside, but it didn't hurt them too much in the terms of in the sense of seeding here. Right at this particular moment, 7 East Ridge and Buchholz is sitting there at number 8. So right now,
and I'm going to tell you right now, a surprise also, and talk about one of the teams that are in the district up here is Childs High School sitting right there at number 9, Josh, at 34.5. They're only a half a point out behind Buchholz in getting into the playoffs. They took a tough loss last week that did not count in their playoffs to Thomasville up in Georgia. But outside of that, they play Leon coming up to this weekend up here, and then they play, I believe, another team in Jacksonville on Friday to close out their season as a makeup. But I'm going to tell you, that team right there, Childs, has come on strong here in the last part of the season. Buchholz better be on their best game in the next 2 games for they have, or else Childs is going to sneak in at number 8 spot.
And right now, Buchholz plays Bartram Trail tomorrow night, and that game, yeah. I believe. I mean, see, what's interesting is that, and I'll point this out because Buchholz the last 2 years has defeated Bartram Trail in the regular season, and Bartram Trail's always had the number in the playoffs. So dig in. Bartram Trail, it's a warning to Bartram Trail. Be on your best lookout for on Buchholz because you never know what Buchholz might do. But Buchholz is definitely not the same Buchholz team of the last 2 years, and I can tell you that right now. So that again, it's just a matter of finishing out the season strong for all these teams and knowing where your seeding could be. Because again, like you said, Childs is sitting right there knocking on the door. Childs finishes off the season, in a good fashion. Buchholz drops the next 2. Well, guess what? There's a problem. That's
even if Buchholz drops the next 1, which they have a possibility of doing, Childs wins their next 2. That's a good thing. They're only a half a point behind, Josh. That's what's so close about this race right here, and it's going to be fun to watch. Hey, guess what, man? We're in playoff football about to happen, and all these points are happening down. The teams are starting to crank up. They're starting to get a little nervous about where they are, but they're starting to play harder and make sure they get in. So what a great time of year, is it not?
Oh, man, this is again the shot of adrenaline that the FHA has put into this. It's basically put a shot of adrenaline back into the sport. I mean, and I could just see it for the future years to come. The fans are just going to be sitting there on edge, waiting to see what's going to happen. What about my team? What's next? So,
that's the way it's going to be. Just like college ball, it's just like the BCS in college football. The FHSAA did a good job of instilling that type of atmosphere now here in high school football here in the state of Florida, and that's exactly what you're getting. But college football has one BCS ranking. We've got 8. And that's what's so fun about all of this right now in high school football here in Florida.
You're absolutely right. Well, let's get into Region 2 here with Class 7A. And right now, Viera's still holding a lock on that number 1 seed right this second with a 43.67 average right now. So they're just over 2 points of a higher average than number 2 seed Lakeland at 41.17 right now. But that right there, anything can happen in these next 2 weeks.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You have Viera winning the district title already. They've already clinched.
Yes, they are.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
They have clinched their district title as well. I want to point that out. Lakeland and Kathleen, which Kathleen right now is sitting at a 7 seed. They play tomorrow night for the district championship in District 7. So that'll be very interesting to see what happens there. Lake Nona, District 5 winner. They're clinched their district, but they're sitting at a number 3 seed, 39.57. So, again, about a 2-point difference between Lakeland to Lake Nona between that 2 and 3 seed. Again, that's you may say, oh, it's good enough distance. No, it's really not good enough distance. It's when you're 5 or 6, that might be a different story. But there ain't
no safe distance in this run, baby.
Nah.
I mean, you're talking 2 points, a point. I mean, that could change. Talk about the Lakeland Kathleen game tomorrow night, Josh, for the district championship. Kathleen wins that game. Those two almost switch spots because Kathleen would jump into probably the number 4 spot because they would be district champs and host their first round.
Oh yeah, that definitely will. That will definitely shake up the bracket right now. And Plant is
it would be huge.
That would potentially boost Plant's potential to be like a 3 or 2 seed, but Plant sitting at the 4 right now. Plant and Wiregrass Ranch tomorrow night for the district championship in that district. And right now, I mean, Plant. Actually, not for the district championship. Let me correct myself there because in the terms of this, if Wiregrass Ranch beats Plant tomorrow night by some, and I say some miracle, but it really won't be a miracle because Wiregrass Ranch has been pretty good lately. And Gaither wins tomorrow night, creates a 3-way tie in that district. That means you're having to wait until after week 11 until the selection show to find out who won the district. So it's.
Oh, right. You're right.
I mean, being 5-0 Plant, 4-1 Wiregrass, Gaither 4-1. Gaither defeated Wiregrass Ranch earlier in the season, but Wiregrass Ranch's point average is 1.5 points higher right now, 38 to 36.5. That's why people are like, well, why is Wiregrass ahead of Gaither when Gaither defeated them on the field? Well, again, it's that point average. It's the teams that Wiregrass has played compared to Gaither. So it's all about, quality of games with the teams and that they have played on the field. And this is what's happening here right there.
It's about the points, baby. That's what you got to get.
The points.
And but what a big matchup. You talk about Plant and Wiregrass right there, Josh. Look at them both tied right there for number 4 and 5 at 38 apiece.
Yeah,
that tells you exactly how equivalent these two teams are and how great of a game that's going to be tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, definitely for sure on that one. Let's get in the Region 3 here in Class 7A, and Venice is still holding on to that number 1 seed, but the gap is closing quickly here in that region right now, and looking at it, and actually Braden River holds a 41.2, which is actually higher than Venice, but Venice already has the on-the-field win against Braden River on that. So right there, it's a matter of these numbers here, but Tampa Bay Tech, 40.25, so Venice wins their district tomorrow night. Tampa Bay Tech has already clinched their district. You look at this, 40.25, we're talking 70.75. That's not very much right there in terms of who's the number 1 seed and who's the number 2 seed right now in that region. And
right.
And looking at number 3 right now would be Pinellas Park. They've clinched their district as well. And then number 4, Gulf Coast. Gulf Coast would be probably by far of any of the teams across the board if their point average does not improve here and they win their district. 31.8 is their point average right now. I mean, that's very low considering when you look at the other teams. They're in the high 30s, low 40s. That's where if you talk about on the other end,
you win your district. That's what's going to count towards them, and they have an opportunity to go to the playoffs, and that's how everything's set up. So
yes.
you get a prize if you win the district. You get a cookie, but you got to hold that cookie straight forward through the playoffs, to where no one takes a bite out of it and eats it all if you're going to be coming in with a low point rating like that, because you're your free game with a lot of these teams that you're going to play based on where you are seeded-wise. So, I mean, the number 4 seed will play the number 5 seed, Josh, in the playoffs, and that number 5 seed is going to be a team that should have won their district but didn't, with a huge higher point rating than what you see at number 4.
Oh, yeah, and right now I'm looking at number 5. Number 5 would be Braden River, 41.2. So, I mean, again, watch out here. Braden River, you know, that 4-5 matchup, don't expect in a lot of these 4-5 matchups for that 5 seed to win that game.
Oh, no question. I mean, this is the thing we talked about. Even back in Class 7A with our teams up here, you know, Lincoln's going to play, you know, right now, if you were to pull those off, it would. I don't know. Columbia's number 1, but you know, you would see where Lincoln possibly would play a Edgewater or maybe a Bartram Trail or something like that, depending on who wins those districts over there. I mean, that's not a good setup for Lincoln. And the same thing right here that you've got for, you know, a Gulf Coast. If they do come up and win their district, guess what? They're number 4 in that seed. They're playing a team like Braden River, like you just said, that's, you know, almost won their district, but is high ranking. That's not going to be much of a game.
No, it's not going to be much of a game at all. And Braden, right now, and you know, with Gulf Coast plays South Fort Myers tomorrow night, and that's a district championship game right there. So South Fort Myers could still take the Thunder away to win the district, and Gulf Coast will be sitting out, looking in. So.
Oh, they'd hate that, wouldn't they?
They would hate it because Riverdale's hating it right now, considering how close they were to being Gulf Coast. Man, that's that district right there. I mean, there's a lot of shenanigans in there. But again, 5 Braden River, 6 Palmetto and Venice play this week, so tomorrow night. So that'll be definitely a key game to watch. And then Durant at 7, St. Petersburg at 8. St. Petersburg, which is mark a note on that. St. Petersburg is basically winless in that district right this second, and 0-3 in that district, but their point average 35-29, and again, that's a huge thing considering Eastlake is 32-75. Eastlake had to forfeit some games, so that dropped their point average, but they're 2-1 in that district. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow night, see if anything shakes out. If Eastlake wins their final district game, you know, and then St. Petersburg drops their final. In St. Petersburg drops their final district game. I mean, it's gonna make things very, very interesting in terms of, you know, who has the highest point average. You know, is there another team that could slip in the back door into the playoffs? We'll find out when the last updated projections come out next week, before the final week, and then the bracket show happens. So, one more week of this after this week. So it's, you know, again, it's gonna be the countdown's on.
A lot of fingernails going to be bit off, and a lot of hair going to be pulled out. So
maybe some
be a fun week in high school football here in Florida.
Just for men's probably going to be liking this to all the coaches.
Yeah, you ain't kidding about that. The gray hair that's going to bring it in. Let's head to number 4, region number 4 right here in 7A, Josh.
Yeah, Aquinas number 1, holding that number 1 seed right now, and I think they're going to finish that. They're going to wrap it up here in the next 2 weeks. They can wrap up their district tomorrow night with a win over Blanche Ely. They're looking pretty good right now at a 40.43. Dwyer's not far behind at 39.75, but Aquinas, again, I just think they're going to be able to hold on to that number 1 seed. But again, just any slip-ups by Aquinas, and you got Dwyer sitting there knocking at the door, who's sitting there at the number 2 seed right now. Then number 3, Nova at 38.43. Well, that's going to drop because they lost their game last night to West Broward, which if they had won that game, they would have gotten the district championship. But now Nova's going to have to fight for a wild card because West Broward is sitting there in the driver's seat to control some things, and that's not a good sign, considering Cooper City is also sitting there, and there's some makeup games as well for that district in 7A-15 that are coming up here in the next on Monday night. That's going to determine a lot of things for that district, and a lot of things what the final projections look like heading into Week 11. So, and then sitting with the number 4 seed Durrell Academy at 37-67, they have their district, so they have clinched their district with that win right there. With that win, and well, we got to love technology in here. We'll get Bobby back on the line because it keeps dropping out on his end on the cell phone. So there we go. We got you back. That's all right.
Yeah, technology, baby.
Gotta
Not happening right now. So
no,
we're gonna have to come. I'll be down there next week. That's for sure.
That's for sure. But Dwyer sitting at 2 in that region. Nova 3, Doral Academy 4. Again, still right now, and Nova is going to be sinking down after they lost that district game last night. So that's going to hurt them a little bit, and they're going to be looking on the outside, looking in for a wild card at this point now. But right now,
well, Josh, talk about that game last night, Nova and West Broward. West Broward winning that game.
Yeah,
how far they've been sitting down here all the way like at number 8, number 9, and number 10. Winning that game against Nova last night, that's going to vault them into the top 8.
Oh yeah,
plus they're sitting up top for the district championship. They could just ride right on in at the district championship right there with 2 weeks left, and they were sitting outside looking in.
Oh yes, and if West Broward beats Cooper City on, I believe it was either Friday or Saturday. I think they put the game to Saturday night because of the makeup game. But West Broward beats Cooper City, boom, done. It's done. Signed, sealed, delivered. The district,
and
they're in, and that puts potentially, Nova on edge looking for a playoff spot. It could put South Broward on edge looking for a playoff spot because South Broward's sitting right now looking at the number 6 seed. That could drop them back. But the team that might hurt the most that's sitting right now at a projected playoff spot, South Miami sitting at 33-71, they would be the 8th seed right now. But if, with the shakeup in 7A,
they would be bumped out.
They'd be bumped out, and then 7A-16 be looking at 2 teams. But right now, 3 teams right this second in the projections right now. But again, these games, these makeup games are going to matter. The point averages are going to matter. The category levels, these records, that's all going to factor in here. And again, like we've seen it already here, the teams have dropped in, dropped out, moved around. I've seen if we watch one team go from a 1 seed down to an 8, that's how fast things can change in a matter of 1 week or even 2 weeks.
And, Josh, these are teams that we're talking about right now that have been, in the past, statistically every year in the playoffs. Now we're talking about them not even being in the playoffs this year, and that's huge. A lot of these teams have been consistently, winning either first or second in their districts and things like that. But now there's going to be a lot of teams that are used to going to play in the extra games in the the winter here coming up through December that are going to be sitting at home. And that's going to be a big surprise for a lot of these teams.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, hey, let's take a quick break, Robbie, and then we'll come back and we'll get into 6A and 5A and talk about those regions and with the teams there.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll be right back here in 5 here on the Drive the December show on the FHSFootball.com Gridiron Report. We'll be right back.
It's a great time to be a fan when you can come in the Buffalo Wild Wings and catch the best moments in sports. Unlike in Roman times, when you could become the sport.
Is this Section G?
I don't know.
I don't know. Ow.
Get the ultimate sports experience at Buffalo Wild Wings.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloorHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Perfect. Prepare a Wiley Valley graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. And we're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the student broadcast program, visit nfhsnetwork.com/SVP.
FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at FH7v7A.com. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream. High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Hey, we're gonna do the Asian thing, honey barbecue and hot.
It's a great time to be a fan when you've got 21 sauces and seasonings to put on your wings. Don't take it for granted because in medieval days, your wing flavors were limited.
Hot flavor, plain flavor.
Hot, please.
Get 21 sauces and seasonings at Buffalo Wild Wings.
And welcome back here to the FloridaHSFootball.com Gridiron Report to stride the December playoff preview show, playoff projection show, as I should call it here. Josh Wilson here coming to you live inside my little office here in Gainesville. But Bobby Latmore's here on the phone with us. We're getting the Class 6A right now here, getting the Class 6A with Region 1 here after we've done 8A and 7A. But this one with Class 6A Region 1 here, Bobby. The Panhandle teams definitely are dominating this one still, even after 9 weeks of football here. So it's going to definitely be a very interesting thing to watch here. St. Augustine still holding that number 1 seed right now. Number 2, Crestview. Number 3, Escambia. And number 4, Navarre right now. So right now, those are your top 4 seeds. And St. Augustine is looking pretty good and holding that grip of that number 1 seed right this second. But at 44.29, Crestview is behind them at 40.33. So there's a little bit of a distance in this one between the 1 and 2 seed. That's a little bit more comfort right there than being 2 points. 4 points is much better than 2.
Yeah, but you got to keep winning.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the way it is.
That's the way it is, definitely. And Crestview could win the next 2, and St. Augustine drop the next 2 here, and that would definitely hurt them, especially since if somehow St. Augustine loses to my alma mater on tomorrow night, which I do not see happening. I do not see happening.
Come on now, you got to keep playing, baby. You got to keep playing. That's why we play in all the games. If not, we wouldn't just go. We go straight to it, wouldn't we? But anything can happen. So it'll be interesting to see What happens tomorrow night there with your alma mater? I'd laugh
Middleburg,
if that
yeah.
happened, but still.
Hey, they do have at least one win on the season, so that I'll give them props for that. But Middleburg, I mean, it's just going to be that's going to be a tough one for them to win. St. Augustine is just really, really good this year. I mean, undefeated still. They have clinched their district, so that it wouldn't have any impact on the district standings for that say, but. Because St. Augustine beat Nice last week, clinched the district. So, I mean, again, St. Augustine's locked in a playoff spot here as a district champion. And the rest of the teams in that region, actually, Escambia has also got their district championship already. So they've got that. And then Crestview plays Niceville tomorrow night. That's a district championship game. And then Navarre versus Gulf Breeze district championship games. Big games right there on the line in the Panhandle. And what's interesting this week in Class 6A, Nice bumps Tate out after Tate lost to Pace, and Nice comes in, even though they lost to St. Augustine, they're number 8 seed right now.
Yep. I mean, that's what's going to be so great about coming up here the next 2 weeks is all this has to pan out here on the field. So when all that happens, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, for sure. Definitely going to be fun to watch on that one. Let's get into and then we'll actually look at the 5 seed Niceville, 6 Pine Forest, 7 Gulf Breeze, and then again 8 Nice replaces Tate. So 2 Jacksonville area teams looking at potential playoff berths in Region 1, but the Panhandle still dominating that bracket right there in the projections right now. Looking at Region 2, getting into Region 2 here, I mean, Armwood still holding that number 1 seed right now in Region 2, and their point average has kind of slipped just slightly a little bit, but I mean, it's a close race between the 1, 2, 3. I would even say the 4 seeds. Let's look at this because everybody that's projected in the top 4 seeds right now in Region 2 have a point average of at least 40. Armwood 44-38. Yep. Mitchell, 43-13, which they took the number 2 spot from Vanguard. Vanguard slipped just slightly a little bit, even though they haven't lost a game or anything. 42-86, and then Sebring sitting at 40-67. And to note, Mitchell and Vanguard have clinched their district, so they're definitely guaranteed top 4 seeds at this point. Armwood, Hillsborough play tomorrow night. Sebring and Lake Gibson play tomorrow night. And if y'all are, and I'll bring this up, if you're looking for the game forecast each week, Joe Pinko's, go to FortHSFootball.com. You can find the game forecast. I mean, it drives coaches nuts each week when they see it, and it certainly drives the fans nuts when they see it's like, really, are you going against my team? It's all numbers, man. It's all numbers.
Yep.
So, I mean, looking at this, but right now, Hillsborough 5, 6, Gainesville 7 is going to be Chamberlain. Actually, I don't know what fixed that right there on the screen. Actually, there we go. And then number 8, Lake Gibson. So those are the seeds right now projected and looking at that. And again, there's one team that has been sitting there, been in and out, looking on the outside, looking in. It all depends what happens between Sebring and Lake Gibson tomorrow night. And that's Lake Wells. So Lake Wells, if they win tomorrow night, Lake Gibson falls, Lake Wells could jump Lake Gibson to get a playoff spot. And again, these next 2 weeks matter.
It definitely does, Josh. I mean, again, we keep harping on it. We keep saying it and everything else. That's why we're playing the games. But it's going to be a great ending to this year and the first year of this playoff system. And, man, it's just going to come down to the wire in all these districts right now.
Oh, for sure, Bobby, for sure on that one. Let's get into Region 3 in Class 6A. Sitting pretty at number 1, the number 1 seed, North Fort Myers, 41-5, but not too far behind them is the number 2 seed, Fort Myers, 39-17. So, but North Fort Myers is the only team in that region that has clinched a playoff berth right this second. But everybody else here, Fort Myers can clinch one tomorrow night. Naples, which is sitting there at the 3 seed, 38-67. They could clinch tomorrow night with a win over Barron Collier. Clearwater sitting at 37-43. 1 point ahead of district rival Largo, who they play tomorrow night for the district championship. So District 6A9, that'll be a big game right there. Again, all 3 of those games are big games for those teams are big games sitting in the top 4. North Fort Myers, again, has wrapped up their district, so they're definitely a lock into the playoffs. And looking at the rest of the seeds, Palmetto Ridge sitting at 5, Barron Collier at 6, Largo 7, and Port Charlotte at 8. So, again, it's going to be really fun to watch these districts play out. And watch the districts finish out this week. and watch what everybody does week 11, because that, again, this is what I love about the system is that week 11 matters, whereas the old system next week would just be like, yeah, who cares? Do we have to watch these games?
Exactly.
No, we have to watch them now. And again, in a media sense, this makes it, worth it to watch these games now in week 11. And again, some people said it's killed off a couple of rivalries, which it did, but in the same sense, it's still those rivalry games, they still matter in some of these games, especially if they're quality rivalry games. So
and it's still going to be I'm sorry, Josh.
Yeah.
Keep going, buddy. I'm trying to pull something up. Keep going.
Let's go. Hey, it's all good, Bobby. It's all good. Let's get into Region 4 here, because this one, Region 4, there's been a couple of interesting changes sitting here looking at that, but still the Miami district is dominating, still going to look at taking 4 teams. And Miami Northwestern last week beat Miami Central to get the district championship. So they're in Mainland. Clinched their district championship Monday night with a win over Deltona Pine Ridge. So right now, every team in every district has a district champion now in Region 4. Mainland District 13, Palm Bay Heritage District 14, Dillard District 15, Northwestern District 16. So those we know who the top 4 teams are going to be. We just don't know the final pecking order is it going to be in this particular case. But Miami Northwestern right now, 42-57, Palm Bay Heritage 36-29. I think it's almost safe to say, looking at this right now, Miami Northwestern is going to be the number 1 seed in that region. And oh boy, you do not want to have to make a trip to Travis Powell round 1 or even round 2 if you're a team from outside Miami.
You got that right. No question about that. That's a tough atmosphere to go into to play, even in your first round or second round right there. So yeah,
I mean,
you want to stay away from that one.
Yeah, especially if you're Matanzas or your Dillard, you want to stay away. Dillard's locked in, but right now, looking at this, I mean, here's the thing: Miami Northwestern would host Miami Norland in the first round. That would be
right.
That would be a rematch right there. Miami Central goes to Dillard, and that's another 5-4 right there, where the 4 seed might not be looking as pretty as that 5 seed coming in. I mean, Miami Central 38-67, Dillard 33-86. So there's a difference right there, But the difference is Dillard being a district champ, Miami Central not. But Miami Central, oh man, that would be, that's I'm hearing it from the Dillard fans already on our message boards. They're not liking this one bit. They're not happy that they may have to play Miami Central for the 3rd straight year in the first round. So
yeah, well, that's a lot of things that are going to have happened here all through the last couple of years, and now everything's starting to, it's proving that it's still going to be kind of the same matchups based on where these regions are and where they're lining up right now. But even with the point system, some of these teams are still going to have to face each other again. I mean, look at the deal right there. Miami Carroll City's got to go all the way up to Daytona Beach to play Mainland if they were to play today.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, there's a lot of traveling that's going to be in this deal if you're in this zone, if you're in Region 4 here in 6A, because 16 is going to host a whole bunch of games down there in Miami.
Oh yeah, 16 definitely will have that case, and again, it's with that, just reminder on this one again, higher seed host each round. So you're Miami Northwestern, hey, you don't have to leave Travis Powell for the first 3 rounds at least. That's a
good luck.
That's a nice reward right there. That's a nice reward.
Yeah, no question. That's a good luck on that.
Yeah, good luck on that one. Good luck trying to get through there, because it's going to be tough. I mean, even looking at going back, I mean, if Miami Northwestern, say North Fort Myers were to get the state semifinal, Northwestern would be home for the state semifinal based on the point average. So again, it's just basically all that with the point averages that number, if that final number is going to matter. But Bobby, let's get in the Class 5A, because Class 5A, this is going to be a real good one. You can really talk about here with Region 1. I mean, you talk about the 3 teams in that Tallahassee district and District 2. Oh man, still, even with Rickards falling last week to Rains, they're still right in it.
Yeah, that was a big surprise. I didn't think Rickards would, fall to Rains. I thought it would be it was a very, very competitive game. Don't get me wrong. 7-0 was you can't beat that. But
right.
I think Rickards should have put more points on the board up there against a Rains team that had to travel over from Jacksonville. But you know what? It is what it is. That's why they play the games. But Rickards doesn't fall too far out of that deal. They fall further down into the list at number 7, but the point systems based on who they played through the year will probably keep them in. They still have, Rickard still has, I forget who they play this week.
They got Wakulla. They play
Wakulla. That's right. They do play Wakulla. I knew they played Wakulla. And then Rickard still has another game against another team that next week. They may, if they lose both those games, they may fall out of the whole point series right here, which would be a very disappointing year for the Rickard's Raiders because they have been up on top all year.
I believe they got Madison County the next week.
That's it. They got Madison County next week. Josh, that's why we've got you here, because you know all this stuff.
They got Madison County. I mean, this is going to be tough sledding for Rickards if they drop these next 2 games, because I tell you what, there's some. You look at District 4, which is 2 districts down over in Jacksonville. You better be watching out that district, because that is one district you do not want to keep your eyes on these next 2 weeks, because the point averages are so close in those in that district alone. I mean, right now, Godby's sitting there holding the number 1 seed, district champion. So again, Corey Fuller, congratulations to your Cougars. There you go. Right there. And right now, that they're the 1 seed. West Florida Tech is holding the number 2 seed. Bowls 3. Bowls can wrap it up tomorrow night with a district championship over Ponte Vedra. Now, I will side note this one. I did not side note it here on the thing, but I will side note it here, is that Trinity Christian still got an appeal out because they had to forfeit that game when they played Bowls back early in week 4 in the season, right after the hurricane came through. They ended up having to forfeit. Trinity's trying to appeal to get that overturned. Well, we're not sure if they're going to be thing. They've already gotten one appeal denied already. We're not sure. Usually you get your first appeal denied. Usually it's very hard to get the subsequent appeals overturned here, in this case with the FHSAA. So, again, Bowls could probably wrap it up here with a district championship tomorrow night with a win over Ponte Vedra. Trinity Christian plays Bishop Kenny, which they are looking at number 8 seed right to second. So, and Trinity Christian is the number 6 seed. So that could be the difference maker right there. Now, I will side note, again, Ponte Vedra beats Bowls. This sends probably region 1 right into a frenzy, because that could be the difference between in and out for Rickards, Wakulla, Trinity Christian, Bishop Kenny. It's going to come down to basically it's going to come down the next week for that region, because again, you look at District 4, you look at District 2, those are the dominant districts right this second in that region. Period.
And you're right. And these teams, and this is what happens when like a SEC format, when the teams have to play each other and knock each other out, and that's exactly what's happening right here. These teams in District 4 and 5A right now are having to play each other. Some of Ponte Vedra could be a spoiler for Bowls, but look at Rickards up there they're 3rd in the region right now. They got to play Wakulla, who's in their district right now. Both of them still in the region playoffs in the top 8. But if they lose that game to Wakulla, and then they got to play the number 1 team in 1A in Madison County the next week after that, and they lose that, Rickards is no longer in that top 8, and that just moves up upon Ponte Vedra into the number 8 spot if they keep playing hard and if they win more. So, Ponte Vedra is in there right now at 35.63. They are the number 9 seed right now, so they're not far out behind Bishop Kenny at 36.5. Less than a point behind there.
And that's why I bring this up, because Ponte Vedra is 3-1 in their district, and Bishop Kenny's 2-2. Ponte Vedra has a head-to-head win against Bishop Kenny, but the Bishop Kenny schedule has just been proven a bit stronger here.
And no question, it has, and that's why the points are just a little bit more of a point, like a 0.9 right now over Bishop Kenny over Ponte Vedra right now. But Ponte Vedra. Yeah, and everybody has a chance right now, because there's only one team that is a district champion right now here in this region, and it's wide open. Reball sitting over there in District 3 right now, sitting on top of a huge lead at 3-0. But you never know. There's still a game with Swanee that they still got to play at 3-1. That Swanee could win that and be the head-to-head winner over Reball for the district championship. That could change. There's so many things that are going to change here in the next couple of weeks, but this is what's so fun about this playoff format, is that we get to have a lot of shows talking about it.
Oh, yeah, and we're definitely going to be talking about, especially as the playoff matchups happen, when we have the post-selection show, when we do the preview for each week. I mean, it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of talk, get the coaches on, see what's going on. I mean, even the selection show, there's going to be some discussion as well. And that, again, that entire all 5 weeks of the playoffs are really going to be. We're going to be talking about what ifs and what if this happened, what if that happened. And there's going to be some what ifs definitely in some of this.
Well, that's what we're doing now. I mean, this is the what ifs and what nots. When the playoffs start, we'll be talking about blood, guts, and tears when that happens. So let's head on over to Region 2 here in 5A.
Region 2. I mean,
not too much of a turnover, but Baker County and Zephyr Hills, Josh, already district champs in these.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're district champs in these. Hernando can wrap up a district championship tonight with a win over Nature Coast. Bellevue, that District 6, that's in the wait-and-see mode because that district, Bellevue, dropped to North Marion last week, and that sent that district and everybody being tied 1-1. So now we have to wait until after next Friday night in order to see what happens with who is going to get that district championship. And right now, some people thinking, I've had a coach ask me about, does North Marion have a chance? You start looking at numbers. I'm thinking North Marion may have maybe turned the Jets on just a little too late. Yeah, they got that win over Bellevue, really in a much more of a favor here. I don't see Bellevue beating Tampa Catholic tomorrow night, but they could easily beat Forest the final week of the game, final week of the season. Eastside got Santa Fe tomorrow night. Should be an easy win right there. At least get them to 6 wins. They have rival Gainesville the final week. That is a game that probably will, if they upset Gainesville next week, that definitely will push Eastside probably as a district champ into the playoffs. But Bellevue right now holding the advantage at 34-38, Eastside 32-14 in that district. So, again, it's just a matter of how does everybody do the next 2 weeks. North Marion, I'm a little weary on because, it's like, did you wake up too late to join the party or what? That's the question. And
right, and there's a situation that you've talked about all year, Josh, since we've been having the shows here for the past 3 to 4 weeks. Here's a situation where 3 teams are a 3-way tie. No more of that Monday night, Tuesday night quarter stuff. You play a half this team and you beat him, then you play the half of the next team and you beat them. You're district champs. This comes down to the points based on what you've done throughout the whole year. And that's how the district champs are going to be leveled out. Now, let's not say that Bellevue and Eastside, which they are both, I believe, no, they're not. Eastside dropped out this week of the
Eastside wasn't
here in this region.
Well, Eastside hadn't been in it, but Bellevue's been in it. But see, Bellevue dropping that game to North Marion didn't help them one bit to clinch the district because they could have wrapped it up. But there's still if the point average still holds, it still holds in their favor to if it was the end of the day, they have the district in their hands. So that would be the case. But it's one of those things right there with that district. It's again waiting until the final gun goes off to know who's got what, because it's a matter of all the numbers, a matter of what your opponent's records are at the end of the season as well.
You got it. Let's look at Region 3 right now, Josh, here in 5A. Immokalee on top. Of course, they've already clinched, which is a good sign for that. But you've got a little note down here. Hardy and Jefferson tied coming into this, but Hardy has a Category 1 win.
Oh, yes.
More so than Jefferson, and that's why Hardy's on top right now.
Yep, Hardy in
the number 3 spot.
Yeah, Hardy 3, Jefferson 4, and again, Immokalee holding that number 1 seed. And Immokalee right now, looking at, going back to that thing on Immokalee, 41-71. I mean, everybody else is sitting behind them, 36-35. I mean, it's going to be hard for someone to catch Immokalee for that number 1 seed. So everybody will probably be fighting for the 2 through 4 seeds right there in that top 4 as the district championships are decided most likely tomorrow night if there's no ties to come in the way of that. But again, in the number 5, Dunbar 6, Jesuit 7, Terrapin Springs, and 8 Southeast. Now, Southeast was in the top 4 last week, and all of a sudden, here they are at 8.
Right.
Lost to Hardy, did that to them right there. That's all it does. Take one loss, boom, hurt you. So and again, that's where Hardy has that Category 1 win is over Southeast. So that's that one. That's that.
Now, who does Hardy still have to play?
DeSoto County.
They still have to play DeSoto County, which is 1-3. DeSoto County could be a spoiler in that.
Yes, exactly.
But you see right there in District 11, right there in 5A, Hardy, Southeast, and Booker all 3-1 in that district record right there. But Booker way down low in the points. But Southeast and Hardy, if Hardy does happen to lose.
Oh, yeah, but I want to point something out about Booker. Booker only has 3 wins on the season. Those 3 wins are district games right there. So, I mean, you look at that right there. Booker beats Southeast and Hardy falls to DeSoto County. Booker takes the district. Man, talk about some woohoo. That will definitely shake up that region if that happens. But I don't see it. But again, Hardy's without 6 players for the next 4 weeks. So not Hardy, Southeast.
What's that old saying? You never know until it's over.
I don't know if I should say this. I don't know if they say until the fat lady sings. Is that what they say sometimes?
Yep. That's what they say sometimes. Absolutely.
All right.
Just Region 4 here in 5A as we're moving along here. American Heritage Plantation on top with that one. Jones, Rockledge at number 2. I'm sorry, let's start this over. American Heritage number 1, Rockledge at number 2, Jones, and then Fort Pierce Westwood. Jones and Fort Pierce Westwood have already clinched their districts.
Oh, yes.
They're automatic in, even though Jones and Fort Pierce have lower point averages than a lot of the teams that are up in the top there, Josh.
Oh, yeah. And
even below them.
And right now, I suspect that Plantation American Heritage will wrap it up tomorrow night with a district win. I mean, they're still got to play, I believe, Coconut Creek as well. They still got to get that district game in, but Coconut, if they win tomorrow night, they're in because Coconut Creek is sitting there with 2 losses already in district play. So that's the key thing right there. But Plantation American Heritage, 46-17. Whoa, man! You talk about a tight grip on that number 1 seed. Westwood, Rockledge, Jones. Good luck. You're probably not going to catch that number 1 seed. You're going to be fighting 2 through 4. Basically, but Jones still, I mean, you look at Rockledge, 39-4, Jones 38-33. That's a difference right there between the 2 and 3 seeds. So that could flip-flop right there. But most likely Westwood will probably end up staying there at 4 because just, again, their schedule has not been as strong as what Rockledge has played and what Jones has played this season so far. So,
well, here's a perfect example. We talked about it in the beginning of the show. Josh, here at number 4. Let's check at Region 4 right here in 5A. Let's look at the 4 and 5 seeds right now. Fort Pierce Westwood coming in this one, 34.14, but they're in because they won their district. They're in District 15.
Right.
But look at Cardinal Gibbons, 41-43. Still, the District 16 championship is still up, but that's a situation right there where a better Cardinal Gibbons team is going to go play a good Westwood team at the number 4 and 5 spot, to where you're going to see a lot of 5s winning over the 4, as you said earlier in the show, and that's a perfect example right there.
Oh, for sure, right there. That is a perfect example. Another one right there. And again, I think the more is where we call upsets is if someone knocks off, if a 7 knocks off a 2 or 8 knocks off a 1. That's where we really you call the upsets at, and that'll be a good determination as to call what's an upset and what's not an upset. Those 5-4 games are not going to be considered really looking for upset games there in that particular case. But
yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, look at
as far as the seedings are, but the thing is, though, here's a better team that has to travel.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
That doesn't make anybody happy.
No, for sure. I mean, you look at in number 6, Bishop Moore, number 7, Palm Bay, number 8, Suncoast, and here's another thing: you look at Bishop Moore. Bishop Moore has a higher point average right to second than Jones in their district, but Jones has won the district, so it's one of those things. But you look at that Palm Bay, you look at that Suncoast sitting there at number 8, and then you start looking around the rest of the region. You see Stranahan 35-71. You see Merritt Island at 35-29. Again, that 8 seed is not necessarily protected by for Suncoast. It's that the next 2 weeks are monumental for what can happen, especially with that 7 and 8 seeds right there.
It's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure on that one. But you want to go into the 4 or you want to take a break, Bobby?
Let's take a break.
Let's take a break. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back here on the FortHSFootball.com Gridiron Report Drive to December show. We'll be right back right after this.
It's a great time to be a fan when you can come in the Buffalo Wild Wings and catch the best moments in sports. Unlike in Roman times, when you could become the sport.
Is this Section G?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Get the ultimate sports experience at Buffalo Wild Wings.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloorHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Perfect. Prepare a Wiley Valley graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
We start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. Oh, we're coming in on 1.
For more information on how your school can join the student broadcast program, visit nfhsnetwork.com/SBP.
FloorHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at FH7v7A.com. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloorHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Hey, we're gonna do the Asian thing, honey barbecue and hot.
It's a great time to be a fan when you've got 21 sauces and seasonings to put on your wings. Don't take it for granted, because in medieval days, your wing flavors were limited.
Hot flavor, plain flavor.
Hot, please.
Get 21 sauces and seasonings at Buffalo Wild Wings.
And welcome back here to the FloorHSFootball.com Gridiron Report Drive the December show. Josh Wilson, Bobby Latmore on the phone with us here. Boy, we've been through 4 classes already. We got 4 more to go, but the next 4 will go pretty quickly here for us. I can tell you that, considering the regions are smaller, number of teams going, there's not as much, but this will be fun because there's definitely been some shakeups in the lower classifications as well here going into week 10 here.
Oh, no question about it, Josh. I mean, just from our area alone, it's been hilarious.
It's been real interesting so far. I mean, you look at Region 1 here, going to Class 4A. I mean, look at West Nassau still holding that number 1 seed, but I'll tell you what, Reigns is creeping up on that number 1 seed. 37. I mean, right now 37.5 to 37.13. Reigns next 2 weeks. Reigns has got better quality opponents these next 2 weeks, and in my turn, in terms of looking at it, even though Lincoln is down a little bit, I still think in this case, Reigns has still got a better chance to get past West Nassau and get that number 1 seed here in the next 2 weeks here, winning some games. But and then you look at that right behind them, Mariana and North Bayhaven. North Bayhaven jumped over South Walton to get into the bracket this week.
Yeah, no question about it right there. I mean, that's how simple these regions right here, without the district championship being involved with it, this is how much these teams are going to move back and forth here, especially in the last 2 weeks.
For sure about that. The next 2 weeks are going to be definitely critical on that one. So right now, West Nassau 1, Reigns 2, Mariana 3, North Bayhaven 4. So again, if you're a couple of the Panhandle teams are looking pretty good right this second to get into the playoffs. But it's again, these next 2 weeks matter, and if you just don't know who might try to slip in the back door here in the last 2 weeks.
And a lot of these teams are playing cross district or cross classification games and region games, Josh. So they're not necessarily playing the games and teams in their region, which could be a huge factor coming down the line with a lot of them.
Oh, for sure, in that one. And this week in Region 2, there's been a swap between the 1 and 2. Bradford jumps into the 1 seed. Dunellen slips back to the number 2 seed. Nothing that Dunellen did. Dunellen was just off last week, so it kind of, Bradford's got one more game up on them right this second. But, again, it's just, again, these next 2 weeks are matter for every team here. And Bradford got, I'm trying to remember who Bradford's got on their schedule. I know who they got next week because it's my alma mater next week for Bradford, so...
Of course, there you go.
I think I'm trying to remember who Bradford's got. I'm sure I know that. Actually, you know what? I just had it on my email here that I had it right here listed here, and I believe that they were going. No, they got Hamilton County this week. That's who they got. So that should be next 2 weeks should be pretty easy wins for Bradford. If you're thinking Bradford 7-1 right now, could finish the season 9-1. Again, Dunellen, I think what's going to hurt Dunellen here, Bobby, is the fact that they were not able to get the Cocoa game made up from week 4 due to Hurricane Irma. So that could have been some points right there, especially if Dunellen could have figured out a way to have beaten Cocoa and played that game.
Yeah, that would have been a good game anyways just to watch.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get it in, and it could affect the whole playoff system because those points will not be accounted for Bradford, and it could definitely hurt them coming down the line.
Yeah, for Dunellen, and it will dive on that for that. But looking at number 3, Trenton still holding on to that number 3 seed right there after several weeks here, and then Keystone Heights gets bumped out. The Villages is sitting there now at the number 4 seed, looking at a playoff spot. So that again, next 2 weeks matter here for all these games for all these teams, especially if you're sitting there at 3 and 4 in your region. If you're 1 and 2, you're sitting there looking pretty good. You're probably winning your games and stuff. 3 and 4.
You think, right?
Right, 3 and 4. That's going to be the key areas right there. Those the 3rd and 4 seeds right there in those regions. But right now, Trenton's still holding on pretty nicely. They haven't shifted around too much. But and I'll point this out here. I'll go ahead and bring it up here, and people will see it when we get to Class 1A. But if Trenton would be playing in 1A, which is their actual original classification, but they got bumped up due to some things that happened earlier this year. If Trenton was playing in 1A right now, they wouldn't be looking at playoffs. They'd be on the outside looking in. So the 4A, the bump to 4A, not on their own, is actually kind of helping them out a little bit looking at playoffs. So,
yep, no question about that. I think that a lot of these teams, when they move different up and down from the classifications to help them out logistically, for logistics reasons, because of this new playoff format, it's helped them out tremendously this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Let's get into regions 3 and 4 in Class 4A here, and Coco's still holding that number 1 seed in Region 3. It's 44-29 to 42-4 between Cocoa and Avon Park in that region, but Cocoa has played some very, very strong games here. Mainland they've beaten, which they're a district champion in Class 6A. Bartram Trail they beat last week, who's likely going to be in the playoffs and could win their district tomorrow night. So it's a matter of just, again, winning out and playing those games and getting it done here. And, next week, Cocoa will play Rockledge, which will be which is the barbecue bowl down there in Brevard County. And that Rockledge team is a lot better this year, so that might actually boost Cocoa's average up if they beat Rockledge. So, it's some teams are overperforming what people expected. Some teams are underachieving. So it's a matter of overachieving, underachieving, or just performing exactly where people think you were going to be at.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like we had mentioned earlier in, the broadcast. A lot of teams that were expecting to get into the playoffs this year will not be in the playoffs because of that. So it's going to be interesting to see. Man, we got a lot of football still to play in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, for sure on that one. So three right now, Lake Highland Prep, 4 Cocoa Beach. Again, that region has pretty much remained unchanged the last few weeks here. But Bishop Road, 30-29, Cocoa Beach 34.14 right to second in that region. So Bishop Road's going to have to win the next 2 weeks here, and hopefully, and hope Cocoa Beach drops their next 2 in order to have a chance at getting that 4th seed. That's the difference right there.
Good luck.
Good luck on that.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck on that one. But here we go. Let's look at Region 4 in this, and with Class 4A. 1 University School, 2 Key West. Key West won against Benjamin last night, so that should help them big time with their point average because Benjamin has been playing a pretty good season here. 3 Monsignor Pace, 4 Gulliver Prep. Where's Booker T. Washington? Sitting there, number 6, 2 spots behind. And right now, 34-25, the next team out, Glade Central, 37-14. Gulliver Prep, 37-17. So, it's closer for Glade Central to jump Gulliver Prep than it is for Booker T. Washington to jump in. I mean, Booker T. Washington has to beat Evans. Some people are even questioning this, Bobby, now. If Booker T. Washington somehow finds a way to reschedule the lost game due to Hurricane Irma against Miami Southridge to get the points to see if that will help them. Some people are wondering why they didn't reschedule it. They may have to now.
If they want to play the playoffs, they may have to, and that's going to be a huge issue with a lot of these teams. The teams that are in the playoffs coming down that they feel pretty comfortable with being in the playoffs because of the point system may not make up these games. But the teams like Washington right there that are going to need the points to boost their point average up to get into the playoffs, they're going to start looking at some of these quick turnaround makeup games just to get the points, like you just said. So I would see that happening here within the next week if they can reschedule that. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, again, Booker T. Washington sitting there right on the outside, and some people were like, "Well, Booker T. Washington was a favorite for a lot of teams, for a lot of people to make a state championship run." And I'm like, yeah, not so fast. I still believe, until the team that won it the year before goes down, and they go down really hard, and that would be in the case Cocoa and 4A. I'm like, nah, I'm not sure if Booker T was totally a favorite. They probably would have been in the mix, but again, they've struggled in some games here, and that's everybody's like, well, Booker T. Washington shouldn't be out of the playoffs, this and that. It's just you got to win some of those games. You don't have to win all those tough games, but you got to win a couple of them at least to help you out. That's the big
you
thing.
can go play the top teams in the state, but you know what? You got to win some of them.
Yeah, you have to.
You're going to get points, but you're not going to get that many.
No, definitely not going to get that many on that with right there. So, again, that's Class 4A looking there right there. Well, that's when we get into Class 3A, Bobby, because that will definitely be this one. I'm hearing some complaints in the Class 3A bracket here, especially over in Region 2 here as I bring it up here on the screen. But right now, that Region 1 in Class 3A, still same 4 teams, but there's been some shifting here in the seeds after last week. So it's
well, at Fort White sitting there, they've been at number 3, and they've been at number 4. They've been at even out of it the last we've done 4 shows now, and Fort White has bounced up and down in that whole scenario. Now look at them right there with a big win last weekend, getting the top seed of that region. Fort White now with 37.63. Taylor County with another big win that they had last week. They're sitting at 37.25. Florida High and Newberry, those are your top 4 teams right there in that region, Taylor County and Florida High. Florida High with a big game tonight against Godby. Of all teams you've got a schedule coming down here to late in the season when you're depending on getting in the playoffs, That's a big game for them. They will play here in Tallahassee tonight. So we'll see how that turnout happens. But Newberry still has to play Fort White this weekend.
Tomorrow
and
night.
That's going to be a big game.
Tomorrow night, and that's at Fort White, and that's a huge game right there for both of those teams, especially Newberry. And Newberry can pick up a win over Fort White. That'll definitely help their booster point average. But considering, let's look at who's sitting there right behind at number 5 in that region, Providence, 31-88.
Yep.
I mean, that's
and you still have Baldwin still there at 31-25. So those two teams, very, very big chance of moving up if Newberry loses bad to Fort White coming up tomorrow night.
Oh, for sure, Bobby. Definitely a big thing right there. But let's look at Region 2. Number 1 seed still the Orlando First Academy. They're still holding that number 1 seed. Kings Academy sitting at 2, Oxbridge 3, Pearson Taylor 4. But the complaints are not coming from those fans of the 4 teams. It's coming down from the team that is at 36-29 named Melbourne Central Catholic. They're wondering what's going on. And I'm like, I have to bring this up because Pearson Taylor plays Crescent City tomorrow night. Crescent City's favored by a touchdown in that game. Again, if Pearson Taylor loses that game, Crescent City wins it. That could actually help Melbourne Central Catholic out. But they just need to win the next 2 games. And I mean, a lot of people still think Melbourne Central Catholic will be in. It's just a matter of you got to let the dominoes fall here, so to speak.
Well, they're only a point out of the whole. They're only a point behind the number 4 team, and with Pearson playing these tough games over there, that's definitely a good region because Trinity Prep is above them even.
Right.
So Melbourne Catholic still has a lot of work to do because there's another team in front of them before they can get to that number 4 spot. So
for sure,
they got to win. They got to get them done.
Just win those games. You got to win, and that's the thing. Win, baby, win.
Al Davis, baby. Here we go.
Win, baby. Let's get into regions 3 and 4 in Class 3A because this, there's there's not been too many changes in this regions 3 and 4, so to speak, in a way. I mean, more in region 4 than region 3, but right now Clearwater Central Catholic still holding that number 1 seed pretty tightly right to second, 41-75. Lakeland Christian 39-38, 39-83. Not too far behind, but then Tampa Catholic 39-29. So there's only so much not very much separation between 2 and 3 seeds in that region. And again, the 2 and 3 seeds will meet up in that first round in the smaller classes. And I mean, that Tampa Catholic Lakeland Christian game, I mean, I still think it's going to happen. That would be a pretty good game right there. And Clearwater Cavalry Christian and Clearwater Central Catholic, that would be a rematch from the regular season if that were to happen.
Right. As if right now, if they were to play today, that would be the thing. But again, there's still 2 more games left to go, 2 more weeks left, and you've got Trinity Catholic sitting at number 5 at 35 points,
yes.
Less than a point. That's 0.7 points away from that number 4 spot. Plus Berkeley Prep also sitting there at 35. Both of those teams looking in, waiting for somebody to, falter or stumble a little bit. And either one of those teams winning the next 2 weeks could vault them into the playoffs as well. So still a lot of football left to be played, especially in this region right here.
For sure on that one, Bobby. And looking at Region 4, number 1, Chaminade Banana. Number 2, Benjamin. Benjamin lost last night, so that's going to slip them. That's going to affect them. But they jumped in because they were on the outside looking in last week, but they jumped in with some big wins here. And St. Andrews falls.
Then lost last night.
Then lost last night to Key West. Key West of all teams, by the way. So there you go. But that will probably be a quality loss for Benjamin right there. But St. Andrews 3, Everglades Prep 4 right now. Now Delray Beach American Heritage, which was the 4 seed last week, is now sitting at 6 in that region because they lost to Glades Central. I mean, that kind of hurt them right there. Again, those are when you got a quality opponent, you don't want to lose those games because that can hurt you.
And it's exactly what happened to American Heritage Delray right there because now they're sitting at 6. They're behind Calvary Christian out of Fort Lauderdale. Everglades Prep has a pretty big game this weekend, I believe. If you can remind me of that one, Josh, do they play Benjamin or Chaminade this week? I think they play one of the top teams, not in this region, but another region.
Yeah, I'm going to actually pull that up here right now because I've got the schedules here. It's just a matter of looking at that on with the Class 3A Region 4 because
I remember looking at this region in particular that the Everglades Prep or St. Andrews, one of these 2 teams has a big game with a number 1 team out of another region, and that would be a huge, deal if they lost that because they would definitely be bumped out of that number 3 and number 4 spot.
They play Everglades Prep plays at Oxbridge Academy tomorrow night, so that's huge right there because they're
Yes, that's the game I was thinking of.
There's that one. I mean, even for let me look at Benjamin here because that was a week 5 makeup they played last night against Key West. I mean, you talk about game played last night. You're playing Kings Academy tomorrow night. Holy, 2 games in 3 days. Whoa, that's going to be huge for Benjamin right there. And that's another team right there that's sitting there looking at a playoff berth. So again,
without the days to rest and regroup and get ready for Kings Academy. Kings Academy sitting there licking their chops right now, waiting for Benjamin to come in. So there's going to be a big mix-up between 2, 3, and 4 right there. Chaminade Madonna is going to stay probably right there where they're at next week. But 2, 3, and 4 in this region right here, there's going to be a lot of switches. American Heritage wins this weekend. They could jump right back into this again. So they've been in there the whole time we've had these shows, and now this show coming down to 2 weeks left, they're out. Well, I mean, so that's how much is going to flip and flop here in the next 2 weeks.
Well, let's look at it this week. It's like American Heritage is off this week. They lost a couple of games. I think they lost the one game, the Holy Trinity. I don't think they were able to make up in the case of the Hurricane. But Westminster Academy next week for American Heritage for Del Wright. But looking at Chaminade, Flanagan, an easy win this week probably for them because Flanagan has just totally not been playing good this season. But University School, which has been a team on fire in Class 4A, Region 4, they get them the final week. That's going to be a showdown right there. So that'll be a top game next week with points on the line right there for both of those teams. But, hey, Bobby, let's get into Class 2A. Why don't we just talk about Class 2?
Let's do it. Let's keep on rolling, baby. Let's go.
Let's Class 2A Region 1. And, I mean, look at the Panhandle to Big Bend area in particular. Look at that. 3 out of the 4 teams sitting out there are from Tallahassee. Number 2, North Florida.
Osceola. Well, let's look at Osceola right there. Before we even talk about the 4, let's look at Osceola right now. Osceola was in the number 4 spot last week. FAMU beats McClay. Osceola had the forfeit. Remember, they had the forfeit coming home. You texted me.
Well, they won. They got a forfeit win.
McClay game.
Yeah, they got the forfeit. They got the forfeit win over St. John Lutheran, but that didn't help them one bit. And in case, but FAMU, I mean, that right there. I mean, you talk about a difference between 4 and 3 and 4 right there. Actually 4 and 5 right there. 31.
Actually, FAMU was 6 last week.
Right, and that's the thing.
McClay was 5. Osceola was 4. So with FAMU beating McClay and Osceola not getting a quality win because of the forfeit, FAMU jumps all of them into the number 4 spot.
And then Rocky Bayou.
That was a huge win.
And then Rocky Bayou beating O'Call, that helped. That shook things up a little bit as well in terms of the ordering there, and that kind of slipped McClay even back further in that particular case. But FAMU 31-71, they're sitting at the 4 seed. 3 seed St. John Paul II. Number 2 at 38-5 is North Florida Christian. University Christian, which went out to Madison County last week and lost 39-63. The gap is closing right now between that 1 and 2 seed, but University Christian still holding on to that 1 seed right this second in Region 1.
Yep. And some good games for North Florida Christian coming up here this week as well. St. John Paul still battling in that North Florida football conference, still doing well with that. They've got a big game coming up here with Oak Hall this week. But FAMU doing very well, staying strong with that, with the big win there. I looked at all the teams, Josh, around the whole state in all classifications. You mentioned Rocky Bayou Christian moving up here to the number 6 spot. That is the biggest move of a team in any region this week. Rocky Bayou was sitting last. They were sitting below Monroe last weekend. But because of the big win against Oak Hall, that's how many points they've got averaged out with the big win because of how low they were. A huge upset allowed them to go all the way up above everybody to number 6. So congratulations to Rocky Bayou right there for moving up the biggest this week in all of high school football here in the state of Florida.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a matter of that. It's all it takes is that one game to change everything. So that definitely does.
It does.
And look,
you still have these games. Everybody's playing each other. Everybody's doing a great job of scheduling and stuff like that. But there's still games between these teams that are coming up. I believe Osceola and St. John Paul still have to play each other. McClay still has, I believe, Osceola or North Florida.
I'll take a look at it real quick here.
but they have some games coming up that they play each other that they're going to be knocked out. They're going to knock each other out coming up here pretty soon. So that's going to be a really fun region to watch here coming up here in the next 2 weeks. Let's head over to Region 2A2.
Yes.
Number the top 4 Victory Christian. There at 41 points. 7 Rivers Christian.
They
at
jumped.
Second. St. Francis Catholic at number 3, and Zephyr Hills Christian at number 4.
And right now, I mean, it's 7 Rivers Christian jumps St. Francis right there for that 2 seed right there. St. Francis falls back to the 3 seed, but Zephyr Hills Christian, which at one point was looking pretty good on, near towards the top, and all of a sudden here they are sitting there on the edge at 4 seed. And, I mean, again, they lost to Indian Rocks Christian this past week, but they got Kingdom Prep, which that might be actually a good matchup right there between those two teams. And then for Zephyr Hills Christian, they got Admiral Farragut the last week, and that'll definitely be the determination of if Zephyr Hills Christian can make the playoffs, because Foundation Academy is not very far behind them. 33-38, 34-89. That's the difference right there between 4 and 5 right there. The one team looking on the outside, Foundation, right, the second in.
Right, and I'm trying to think of St. Francis Catholic. They've got a big game, but actually St. Francis Catholic's girls volleyball team is heading up here to Tallahassee today for the first round of the regional qualifiers in volleyball.
Yes.
So they're playing North Florida Catholic. We're having that game on Varsity Sports Network here at 6 o'clock tonight. So, I was thinking of St. Francis Catholic. What's going on with St. Francis Catholic? Something's going on.
There you go.
So that was what I was thinking of right there. So, but yeah, Victory Christian on top. Very, very sound right now at 41 points. 7 Rivers Christian way behind them at 37-38. Not way behind, but still 3 points behind. A lot of points they have to make up, because I don't think they have many games left. I think they have one more game left on their schedule when I looked at it over the week when we got these point systems in. But the Oak Hall is still a sleeper out there. Say what you want, they've lost a couple games here the last 3 weeks, but they are still a team that some of these teams are going to be playing that are going to be formidable and be a spoiler. They're really looking to get back up in there. They're at 31-43 at number 6. They are not out of the playoff race yet.
They got St. John Paul II next week. Now, the next week when
that's the game I was thinking of. Yes,
the North Florida Football Conference crossovers. Those games will not count on the points because they don't know who their opponent is, and that has to be determined before the season starts. And that again, you have to play the conference games in order to determine your crossover or who's playing for a championship. But again, if Oak Hall can beat St. John Paul II, that would be some points right there to hopefully help them get back in the mix there, right there towards the end.
Won't hurt John Paul as far as the points. I think they'll probably be ended up at number 4 if that were the case. Some teams may jump them, but I think St. John's in the playoffs right now. They've been playing some great football, blowing some teams out pretty regularly here the last couple of weeks. So that game against Oak Hall, if they lose that game, I don't think they'll be out of the playoffs even with it. But winning that game for Oak Hall you're right, Josh, would probably vault him in the number 4 spot over there.
Yes, indeed, and definitely on that one. So, but again, let's get into class. Let's go in the regions 3 and 4, Class 2A here, because again, there's some big. Been some movement a little bit, and especially not so much in Region 3. Actually, in Region 3, actually, Indian Rocks Christian is back in it with the number 2 seed. I mean, they were sitting there on the outside looking in last week, and now here they are back in it in the mix again. And Keswick Christian was a 4 seed last week, and they've dropped behind back to 5, so they're on the outside looking in again here in this region. But
yep.
Cambridge Christian 37-86, Indian Rocks 35-29. So not too much separating between 1 and 2 seeds, and even between 2 and 3, 35-29 to 35. For Southwest Florida Christian, that's again that 0.2 of a point right there is almost that's your difference.
Right. It doesn't matter. Those, I know you're going to be the seedings and stuff like that on who you play, but, as long as you're in the playoffs, you get an extra game. So that's what all 4 of these teams are looking for right now. Admiral Farragut in there at 34. Keswick Christian's looking real. They're not looking very strong right now at that 31.43, but
and they lost.
I'm not sure who they play coming up this week, but you said right. They've just lost.
They just lost to Trinity Prep, which was actually sitting there on the outside looking in Class 3A in Region 2. So, but that loss does not help them at all in that particular case. So that might slip Keswick Christian to the back of the pack next week when we get the last projections of the season before the bracket show on Sunday, November 5th. But Region 4, Moorhaven sitting there at number 1. Champagnat a couple weeks ago was sitting there at the number 1 seed, and all of a sudden they're a 3 seed right this second. But we talked about Glades Day last week. Look where they're at right this second. They're sitting there.
They were not
in this thing in the last
They were
year.
not in this. That's right. And the big win last week, I think, vaulted them up a little bit. But they're tied with Community School right there. And you've got a note at the bottom. They win the tiebreaker because Glades Day has a Category 1 win that Community School does not. So they would be in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that Category 1 win over Jupiter Christian. So that helped them out big time right there. And looking right there, that's a difference thing. And then Glades Day, they also what also helped them was they also picked up a forfeit win on Monday night against Village Academy, who basically tossed their season in. So here's Village Academy sitting all the way bottom at 21. Their season's done with. They're not. They forfeited the rest of the season because they don't have enough players. And again, you never want to see a team go out the season like that, not having enough players because a lot of injuries take place. But again, look at the number 2 seed in that region, St. John Newman. Wow, I mean, talk about the jumping right there over Champagnat, 40.6, 37.86. Champagnat does not have any more games these next 2 weeks because their season is over with, I believe.
They're done. Yep,
they're done. But they're going to be qualified to get in this case, even without a game being scrapped because of the hurricane. Because the FHA's, again, they're going to be waiving a lot of teams here on some of the minimum requirements, but. Again, it's St. John Newman. The next 2 weeks for them is going to be critical, to keep that number 2 seed or see if Champagnat, because again, even for Champagnat, even though they're not playing any more games, points could go up, they could go down for them because again, it's a matter of what the record is at the end of the season.
That's what it's going to be. They could go. It depends on what the other teams around them are going to do. So there's a situation right there where you're really not in control of your own destiny. Josh, let's head over to Region 1A. We've closing up time here today. We've got a lot of things happening tonight, especially up here in Tallahassee with 2 football games that we're going to cover, plus a volleyball game. So let's crank it up, baby. Let's get 1A going.
And there's a football game here in Gainesville tonight between Gainesville and South.
There you go. There you go.
Here we go. Right now with Class 1A Region 1. Let's get into that one right now. Last couple weeks, Chipley has been sitting there on top in the region.
Yep.
But Chipley lost another game that has faulted Baker, and now everybody has kind of quieted down about why is Baker not number 1 seed. Well, here you go, you're number 1 seed now. So,
yep.
There's
and again right there. Let's Baker number 1, Chipley number 2, Holmes County number 3, Vernon
slips
at number 4.
And they jump in this
week, but Jay's sitting right behind him.
But Vernon jumps in after Bozeman was sitting there last week in the number 4 seed, and Bozeman took a loss and
this is true.
It put Bozeman right down, 31-71, Vernon 34-57. But you're right, Jay is sitting there at 34, which that's a difference right there between those two teams. It's 34 and 34.57. Not very much separation. Not very much room for error for Vernon or Jay in this case.
Nope. And let's head over to Region 2 real quick. Lunchtown number 1, Cottondale number 2, Port St. Joe number 3, and Jefferson County number 4. And the game I was thinking of, Josh, that's going to be November 3rd. That's going to be a big game for 2 teams as North Florida Christian heads down to Port St. Joe to take them on. So that's a huge game for both of these teams coming up here, the last game of the season.
You're absolutely right, Bobby. But Bluntstown defeated Port St. Joe last week, 3-0 field goal winning. That was it.
Yep, that's all. And that's how close that game was. That's how much parity this group has, because Franklin County sitting right down there at the bottom, below Jefferson County, who Jefferson County is never been in the playoffs in a long, long time, and here they are cheering. They are cheering in Monticello right now because of the points that they're up right now. How many are they're almost up 5 points over Franklin County for that number 4 seed over there. So here's some teams that haven't had the opportunity to be in the playoffs, but because of this new system, hey, here's a chance for them to be in there. So congratulations to the Tigers over there in Jefferson County right now. You're at the number 4 seed, but you got to hold on to it because you have some big games coming up this week too.
Oh, yeah, and again, after everything that happened in the last year and then them having to be converted to a charter school and all that, what the county was going on, that's a motivation. That's a good boost of morale right there for Jefferson County. But regions 3 and 4, that's the last 2 regions we got in Class 1A, and then we'll wrap it up here.
I love this Region 3 and 1A right here. There's some teams over here, Josh, that are really just dominating right now. Of course, Madison County at number 1. I don't think they'll leave that spot
No, not at all. Oop. Did we lose you, Bobby? Hello? Yep. We'll get Bobby back here real quick here. We'll get Bobby back here real quick, hopefully. Hopefully we didn't lose his phone.
Your call has been forwarded to...
We'll see what happened here. Bobby, we kind of lost Bobby here, but he's sitting there talking about Madison County, number one. Madison County is definitely sitting at number one at 45.13. I don't think there's going to be much difference there in that case with Madison County. Dixie County sitting there 42.67, Lafayette 38, and Union County 34.11 here. So, again, we'll try to get Bobby here back on the line here in that case, but Region 3 is looking pretty good in the situation here, so... There we go. We got you again?
And I'm back.
And I'm, we're at the,
every 5 minutes it's going to shut us off. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
Madison County.
I
was talking about Madison County, 45-13, and the Bears of Dixie County, 42-67.
I love saying it. I love this team. They have really come out of nowhere this season, undefeated all the way through the year right now. The Bears out of Cross City, Dixie County, sitting at 42.67. They're in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go down there and vie for them, whatever they need to do to get into the playoffs, because the number 4 seed over there, Union County, who's having a good year themselves, is at 34.11. And I don't see where Dixie County in the next 2 weeks are going to lose 12 points not to be in the playoffs this year. So congratulations to the Bears. Yep. Over there. Look at Lafayette Mayo sitting at number 3.
And those
so this is a good region.
Those first 3 teams are all undefeated as well. So that's another thing right there. No one has lost a game in that region. So and those first 3.
So Mayo has not lost either. So they're still undefeated as well.
Yeah, it's just the points are just a thing. But Union has lost the last couple of games, and they lost a bit. They lost one to Williston, and it's not. Again, I think this week they've got. I'm trying to remember who they've got that's coming up this week here, because I am pretty certain on that. Actually, let me take a look here real quick on that one, because Union County, they've missed their running back, who Charles Strong, who has been out the last couple of games due to an injury. I'm not sure if they'll get him back again. They'll get him back this week, but they got Taylor County this week for Union County.
Oh, that's right. Union County does. The Tigers from Union County have the
Bulldogs. I mean, they lose that game. Chiefland could be looking pretty sitting there to take that number 4 seed right out of Union County's hand. So, and Chiefland's got Agape Christian, which that should be an easy win for them. So, I mean, it's a matter of winning and losing here in this situation for that 4 seed.
Less than a point between the two. So if Union County does lose this week, Chiefland wins, which the more likely they will. That's gonna vault Chiefland over. So yeah, a lot of football still to be played right there at that 3 and 4 spot right there between Union County and Chiefland.
Oh yeah,
we'll see how that goes. But I agree with you here. Madison County, Dixie, and Lafayette will probably hold the top 3 spots right there in Region 3.
Yeah, that's no doubt. I'll doubt that. But here we go. Region 4: 1 Pahokee, 2 Frostproof, 3 Wildwood. Wildwood was sitting at 2 last week, drops to 3. But we got a new team sitting at number 4, because Crescent City got bumped out after losing to Bradford. Williston, after picking up that big win over Union County, sitting at 4 right now in that region. How about that? Williston, the Red Devils.
You got to love it. This is what high school football is all about. I mean, you're going to bump and you're going to grind all the way through the year, and then when it comes down to the last 2 weeks, you're going to see the results based on winning and based on coming up and winning these top games at the end of the year, especially against some big rivals, especially in this 1A region. I mean, this is what's fun about it. Williston was not in it last week. Crescent City loses. Guess what? Williston is now, if we were to play this week, they're in. So they can celebrate for a week that they're in the top 4, but guess what?
You got to win games.
They have to keep winning.
They got
that's the only way Williston's going to be in there, because they have a big game. I believe I saw on the
Dixie
schedule,
County
coming up this week. Dixie County, and right there, it's you write off because you're playing the Bears, and that right there is probably going to be a loss for Williston. You better hope Crescent City loses this week as well, because if you want to retain that number 4 spot, that's going to be very vital to coming down the next 2 weeks.
No, you're absolutely right, Bobby, and that is the case here with that region. I mean, again, it's every region's still basically up in the air. We don't know. We know who some of the teams are going to the playoffs, in the higher classes, but at this particular point, it's again, next 2 weeks critical.
Region 1, yep. Class A through 4A, baby, it's wide open, and that's why we're here to tell everybody, hey, guess what? You better keep watching, and you better keep playing, and you better keep winning.
Right, and give you the analysis and give you some thoughts and opinions of what's going on, and especially, again, 11-5, that is the selection show. We'll have a post-selection show. We're not sure exactly where we're going to do that at yet. We're still figuring out the logistics on that one, but we're going to have the selection show, which I've been told is going to be probably about an hour and a half of traditional kind of selection show. You see doing college. We're going to do in high school football here in the state of Florida, but post-selection show, we're going to have fun with that one. Get a lot of coaches, a lot of teams, maybe even the media, some of the media members talk about some of the games that were that get announced that day, and then preview the playoffs. We're going to go all the way to if we're going to be at Camping World Stadium, we're going to have fun down there too. So.
Yeah, when we get to state, we'll have the state playoffs. We'll have the podcast after each game as well. So a lot to look forward to here on FloridaHighSchoolFootball.com as well as the Varsity Sports Network. So, Josh, good job today. Good show. We're a little late getting it done here this week, but you know what? We've got it done. Now it's time to get off and play some high school football here. 2 weeks to go.
Yes.
Here left in the FHSAA week, and
yes,
man, it's going to be a lot of fun.
And again, we got the bugs worked out. We had some bugs yesterday. That's why we didn't go yesterday. But we got it worked out here. But sitting behind me, the T-shirt that I got from Cardinal Gibbons over the summer from Coach Matt DeBuck sitting behind me here on the screen. So Cardinal Gibbons, hey, shout out to y'all because we know y'all are going to be most likely playoff bound. But Cardinal Gibbons, they've talked about how good of a season they're going to have. They talked about it for months before that. They've put their put the money where the mouth is, or so to speak. How I may be getting it mixed up here, but Cardinal Gibbons, definitely hats off to them. So got the shirt on display behind me today here on the screen. But Bobby, it's been a great show. We'll do it again next week.
You just worry. Listen. You just worry about the stats, who everybody plays. We will carry you on after all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
You're our guy. So don't lose faith and focus on that. We'll carry you. Don't worry, big boy.
We're good. We're good. We got it all good. We got it. Well, hey, it
was a great show today, Josh. Good tuning in to you. We'll be hooked up next week. Definitely, though, back in Gainesville. So I'm going to call it a day. Josh, sign off for us, buddy. Good seeing everybody. We'll see you all next week.
All right, for Bobby Latmore, Josh Wilson here. We're signing off here from the FortHSFootball.com Gridiron Report to drive the December show here on FortHSFootball.com, Varsity Sports Network, and on NFHSNetwork.com. We'll see y'all next week here on the show.